spiritually, and we may talk about this in another program that we may do in the future, there's the issue of what is the core spiritual view of the United States. Well, it tends to be very occultic, very Luciferian. That is sort of our natural native religion. Christianity is, well, we like to think of ourselves as a Christian nation.
Absolutely.
There are certain politicians that don't agree with that.
But a lot of the power structures in the United States of America, sadly, are occultic. And that would include the major research centers, that would be aeronautics, rocketry, the high-tech aspects of Silicon Valley.
Bright, it's warmer for the first time. We're in Canada, right? So I'm going to get the telescope out. I'm going to show you how to hurt your back, how a telescope crazed maniac that wants to get out fast is going to do this. So I got you guys back there so that you can actually see me come out with the telescope. I'm going to show you, this is not the recommended way. Because I do want to show you what I have to do each time when I go out to get the moon. This is about 175 pounds. Okay, so we're going to set up Big Mama to get to the moon tonight, I hope. There we go. Everything's ready. But now I'm going to take the time to get out for you and show you exactly how I set up. So the base is out, moon's right there. Okay, the optical head. All right, so this is the optical head, and that's what is doing all the filming. So, now we're set up over here. Hello. So, this is where we're going to sit the optical head, and obviously, guys, the moon is going to be exceptional. I'm going to get it extremely clear tonight. So yeah, this is the optical head. Bring up the optical head right there, and I sit it like that, and then that's no good, so you lift it up, sit it like that. There you go. None of these bullcrap ways of people lifting it up with lifts. While I can do it, I'll do it this way. But the telescope is already set up. Maybe I can show you guys a simple connection, how I'll set up, and I'm going to explain something to everyone on how I do the filming and how I'm looking for the UFOs, to get you exactly accustomed to exactly what I have to do outside, what I'm doing, and how it's not exactly fun while you're filming, but it's more fun when you're actually watching the movie inside. So let me take that off the tripod. Try not to shake too much for you all. So there she is. So there she is, already all set up. Moon's in the sky actually. The camera's set up. So this is the Nikon D850 at the back, all clean. I keep it everything clean, no dust on this baby. So very simply, to be transported. These 14-inch scopes are actually used a lot scientifically, and they're actually pretty, I'm out of breath, pretty easy to handle and to manage to getting it around. It's a beautiful telescope.
Just so that I can show you what the surface looks like. Lines leaving the surface of the moon, both in and out of the moon. This is along Copernicus crater. It looks like a constructed city with piles of dirt and bridges. Look where it reaches, a path going over top of all this construction, and at the other end, it reaches right at the end where that curve is. For Pete's sakes, it looks like construction on the moon. I've never seen that much signs of construction in my life anywhere filming something overhead. There's definitely structures up there for sure. Tunnels, structures, whatever you want it to be. But never in my life have I ever filmed a celestial object and seen so much, so many things. For those of you who still don't see the real picture, somebody said, Bruce, it could be roads, not just pipes. Oh yeah, say it all the time. Yes, absolutely. I hear you guys say it all the time. Not just could there be roads, it could be highways, tunnels, corridors, pipes with liquids, because I don't want to rule anything out. And yeah, no, guys, you have amazing feedback. This is how I do my research, along with your help. I get feedback from a lot of you. We're seeing 90-degree angles here too. This is pretty intense because the roads or pathways that we're seeing here are definitely constructed. There's that gap that I showed you yesterday. So now we're closer, and we're not just going to get closer, we're going to get a lot closer, and we're going to turn the image around. We can only get in as close as we can see clearly, but wait to see the other angle. These are roads or pathways, connections, like I always say, whatever they may be, maybe pipes too. Look at them. Isn't that something else? You could see the elevation where it's pointing, the purple arrow on the left, pointing downwards the tunnel. Okay. Just like strings over a guitar fret, just going right by, sideways, lines going the other way. We wonder what all the piles and piles of dirt are doing up there. Well, obviously, that's what we're seeing, that different texture. One of many other elements, that are running over top of these built objects. Somebody said to me just yesterday, maybe it's a war, Bruce. That's what the lights look like. UFOs come out of the surface of the moon. If you want to wait for disclosure from the news, well, that's your choice. If you're here, it's because you've gotten a part of disclosure. It's sort of like a raw disclosure, right? It's all this evidence presented without any explanation. What about structures? There's a building structure right there. Well, first of all, somebody said, you know, show us that it's actually bending on the surface. Look, it really is. Parallax, whatever. It's a connection. It's longing the surface, going downwards, and a black spot over the top there in Mare Fecunditatis. It's all pretty cool details, actually. I'm really happy to have been able to show it. And look at this, like a block. Imagine, it should be out of proportion, and we're still seeing it square, so it must be really, really symmetrical. And that's an object inside of Mare Fecunditatis on the moon. With a simple conversion. Green, our eyes are really used to seeing the green. This is really fun. I love doing this, guys. It's beautiful, no? Even if there's something sinister up there, it's so beautiful. Okay, here's the secret. What's that? What are you looking at? That's a different type of material. Could be water dripping, could be ice freezing, could be a camouflage, could be construction, could be trees, that's why it's blurry. Could be a lot of things. Let's see that one more time. Let's see that one more time. Guys, there it is. Yep, straight up proof, a different material. That's built. Sorry. Beams going by there? What's that? Looks like a square under a nut. Whoop, waterfall? What? It could be many things, right? And aside from what I'm saying, say to yourself one thing, my friends. It's something out of the ordinary. Especially that big ass pipe that I showed you all. So here, oil pumped out of Earth. All the amounts on the bottom you see there are from Earth. Copernicus has a pipe there. So theory, right? Well, bridges, structures, it's all over the surface. Absolutely in our faces. This one, scary. Very scary. All constructed beside large craters. Not even talked about. I like showing that one. It's awesome. And there's Lil Nas coming down from the heavens, going downhill. If you look at the surface of the moon, all those green patches are all areas where there could be movement. Why? Because it's blurry. So no matter what they change on the surface there, we won't see the difference. You can see all what almost looks like building tops. And why do I say building tops? Because they're side by side and they're rectangular. Again, it could be machinery. Over to the right, what do you think that is? Do you actually think two craters fell the exact same side by side, 10,000 years apart, with the same shadow? You know that's not a crater, so that's common sense. Look at that. What is that, HARP? Up on the moon? When you look at the surface, and look at that, the connection bent over in the small circle, hey, it's going inwards down to the ground, and that's where you know it's not a pixel either. Well, electricity's down as I'm doing this video, so hopefully I'll get it up tonight. If not, you'll see it today on the 4th. The Force. So, yeah, look at the lines, guys. Seriously, platform lines. What's going on at the end of this? Right here. Looks like at the end of those lines, they're dumping dirt. I'm sorry, but the dirt is moving on the surface. This is how they're moving. See those three patches there? See that square on top? See the patch underneath? See the lines that are hidden by the dirt? That's blurry and darker because it's freshly brought up. And the lines there that look like almost mining right there. Wow, company right inside of a mountain. The mountain's very popular. It's called Sinus Iridum. And hopefully 2050, when they tell all the children of the children of the children of the corn that there's something up on the moon, well, I'll be able to, as an old guy, get a good chuckle and probably have some cool young friends when they find out. All right, here it is. Listen carefully. Long lines, side by side, by the way, that go over a platform that looks like there's dirt or some fresh objects at the end that are blurry patches. It looks like dirt that was thrown there. There's a line going down lower, to, like in a quarry, that you could see right there inside. Look at the dirt. Now, look at the other patches of dirt that are actually hiding structures or lines beside a square. There's the other patch in the center as it goes downwards, so they can travel probably through that area without being seen. And there, whatever they're hauling out of the ground. Now, all of these constructions are real. And at one point, sometime in this world, people will have the truth. We'll see this presented by someone else, by a professional, by NASA, or even the government. But no one's researching what's actually on the moon. I'm not getting out there. People aren't understanding. There's a crater underneath. It's not a crater, it's a building, but okay, crater under that black tarp. Why am I calling it a tarp? Why are there connections at the end of the other tarp or platform or structure? Those are two black objects built over what everyone thinks are craters. It's exposed in a beautiful way where there's no pixelation. You could see the crater through the dark object, and it has two different shapes. It's not a shadow. Proven. It should be on the news. All the big channels and UFO channels should be jumping on it, but why don't they? Well, that's easy. Most of the channels out there are partly hiding the truth. And you add jealousy in that. You add the people that want to be the monopoly, the ones that want to bring the truth out. It's a nice feeling to bring truth out to somebody. But if you try to rob it from someone, that's, you know, sort of like Jesus, I guess, eh? I guess, you know, people are jealous of other people. Jesus will come back down to earth in a physical form and we'll crucify him again. Because we're stupid that way. These objects and dirt that is are thrown over all these objects in Bianchini crater. I keep talking about the patches of dirt, right? And those patches of dirt, why do I call them patches of dirt? Well, they're dark, and you see the patches around the structuring. It's proof they're hiding the lines going to these structures, and or whatever they're hauling out of the moon to build inside the moon is appearing in those areas. Because that way, look here, the dirt beside the square crater. That way, the dirt, like here that you see, it blends in with the surface and there's no proof that anything's going on. They can always move that dirt around the crater. You'll never see the movement. You'll never see piles accumulating either unless we're really, really close up. Where the Apennine Mountains meet Eratosthenes crater, the highest elevated point on the moon, the Apennine Mountains. Look at all the browns. Apollo 17. Here we can see Aristarchus with browns at the back on the high ridge, but in the center and beside Aristarchus crater and elsewhere we could see a lot of greenery on the surface. And look at the browns starting to form up the back. Mare fecunditatis, Endymion crater, right beside it, that big white crater. Look at the intense dark forest greens. Yep, forest greens, just the color. But look at the difference with this green. Well, hold on, there's a green there. That's where, all there, look. It just so happens there's green and blue showing up where the Apollo 11 moon landing was, supposedly, and a lighter green, olive green, inside of Mare Serenitatis. Hey everyone, my name is Bruce Swartz. I'm from Montreal, the province of Quebec. This is Aristarchus crater. As we're panning up here, we're going to go back to see, oh yeah, the UFO. The UFOs and lights on the surface, different moments that I capture lights on the surface of the moon, and I'm always looking, of course. There's two that I haven't showed yet, and I'm going to show them. Just regular lights, right? They're hard to tell apart. It's just lights because we can't see through those darn lights. But in reality, I think it's pretty deliberate. So let's get into it. Yesterday I showed this amazing finding was the UFO coming out of the surface. And as you can see, with a little bit of pixelation beginning, as I'm so close, it's about the limit that we're going to be able to see it. But you know what? We're close enough to see that it's coming out of the bloody surface. That's the most exciting thing. And, oh yeah, this is what's going by on the left while you see that object coming out of the surface in that hole, right? Whether it be a hole or platform or something, I don't know. But it's pretty straight up clear to me that this should be in the news because, well, at least everyone in the ufology community that is researching the moon, come on there. The big channels, this is what I want to reach. Why? Because the big channels have the platform, they have the word. So they should be sharing the truth. If they see me, I hope they do. So if there were UFOs arriving to the surface or leaving the surface, could they be going into things like this, like these tubes that we're looking at right here, for example? There must be some type of way for UFOs to arrive and enter the surface. Again, there's these detachments of black and bright objects. I see them all the time. The UFO, check this one out. You see over on the left there, there's a white spot also, and there's a white one on the right. I don't know if it's a shadow or if it's something following it. We'll see it in another light as we advance here. I'm just taking the exposure down so we can see it all ways. So there's that thing here. I flipped the inversion and quite simply, so now the black dot with the other object on the bottom there, whether they're following each other, I think pretty much they are, but I always wonder, that could be the distance that object is over the moon, theoretically, if it was its shadow. So take a look at the detachment, what I mean when I say detachment. There's no terms for any of this. It's something unknown that we're looking at, but often a bright light is attached to something darker, and they separate, they connect, They change connections sometimes. Here's a very interesting one. We'll take a closer look at this one and slow it down. The light that you're looking at in the crater is flashing. That's really cool. Obviously not the sun. And another interesting thing is that this UFO, there's another light in the center of it. You can see it very, very well with the magnifying lens. Anyways, I don't know if you all have one handy, but sometimes it's practical. And yeah, it's passing by right in front of the crater and near Copernicus. It's not hiding at all and just traveling along the surface, probably interacting those lights with the UFOs. They have to have some indication. So check it out. It's dark, right? Well, it's normal. It's really dark, but watch that bright light light up like an explosion or smoke or cloud on the bottom, and it's just illuminating the whole surface. I often see those. What is that supposed to be, or those supposed to be? A cloud appears simultaneously with 3 illuminated stationary objects that light up. But guess what? There's black beside some of them, black dots or spots. So from my experience with the research, at least 4.5 years, I can tell that it's probably a UFO that's ready to take off. Maybe 3 of them. And what the heck's that? Now, what would that be? Can you see all the clouds and the atmosphere around it? That's why it's so hard to see the surface. In reality, no one's ever seen all of the surface. Look at the smoke moving over here. Look at that. Simply the moon and its illuminated region, especially the north side, where you can see there the Crisium Basin right there on the top left. That's the Crisium Basin. But look at all the spots in the center that are not illuminated by the sun. Well, say to yourself, they can travel around inside of those lights, including hazes and stuff. You'll never see them. When you bring the exposures down, you see more areas exactly, quite simply, where the sources are coming from. And when you approach up to them, like here, for example, this is Aristarchus crater, right inside along the ridge at the back of Aristarchus crater, inside the square, I say. People laugh at me. Many hundreds, if not thousands, laugh at me when they say that I'm looking at pixelation. Well, it's actually not. And there's a big difference. And I've done it before. I've shown the video of what's the difference with pixelation and just refraction. This is a UFO highway. They're traveling, my friends, underneath those hazes and lights. And they're laughing at us. Hi everyone, welcome to the Bruce Cizal Research Channel. I research UFOs, I study ufology, I found some lights moving on the surface, also see UFOs going by, a whole bunch of other stuff. But today we're going to plunge into the surface of the moon and we're going to see UFOs in a way that maybe I've never, well, I've shown it similar, but with the information that I'm going to be giving you all, you're going to have a complete understanding, a complete explanation on exactly what could be occurring, what we are seeing, and why we are seeing these lights the way I'm showing them to you. Here's a UFO cooling down. So the terms I use are the terms that I made up while I'm doing my research, right? UFO cooling down, right? I mean, what else do you want it to be? They're really UFOs. Did you all know that UFOs arrive to the moon and some leave the moon? Here's in very, very slow motion because things occur very, very fast. One of my favorite areas, check it out. Look what's going to occur. There are many UFOs on the surface. You can see a black spot and a light at the end. You'll see them appear, the black dots at the end. There they are in the circle, black and light. You see that there's one of each. Well, I'll show you some on the surface. I'll show you them as big as a plate, absolutely close up under an atmosphere and or dusts, hazes, clouds. There's something roaming around on the surface, not just that. I'm not just talking about UFOs. There it is again, the black spot with the light at the back, propulsion, photon energy, a complete system. But yeah, seriously, there's lots I want to talk to you guys about, because there's a lot of things that people don't know about the moon. And honestly, if I had more of a brain, I'd probably be able to explain it a little better. I can't see how it can be explained any better than how I'm showing you guys here pressed up like this. We're going to see a lot of cool things in this video. It's similar to the one I just posted on the French channel. I added a few things, changed a few things. It's very important that I show you the exact same thing and the exact same traits, characteristics. So this is a UFO going into the crater, but now there are different types of UFOs on the moon, different types of anomalies on the moon. What if I told you that I was going to show you a UFO closer than you've ever seen it before? I'm going to show you it going by in slow motion, also showing you the lights it's causing on the surface and the smokes. Remember these lights? Ever notice how I go back to my research? Yeah, there's a lot of things I want you guys to see. Watch this. On the right, the two circles. Watch what happens. Twiddle-dee, twiddle-dum, left and right, left and right. Did I show this yesterday? Maybe I even did. Doesn't matter. I'm going to show it again. Maybe I didn't show it like this, though, showing you that, listen, something is literally moving around on the surface. Forgive me, of course, if I did show it yesterday. I make a lot of videos, guys. Sometimes I can forget that I showed something, and there's nothing wrong with showing something twice. I've shown things 20 times, like NASA does, right? So check it out. There's a haze on the moon. Imagine, okay, isn't it a beautiful theory that we could actually dream of thinking that, wow, what if there was a living being on the moon? And a community member even told me the other day, Bruce, what if they're up there and they don't even know that we are here? Lit, like Endymion crater, right? And what other crater? A whole bunch of names of craters. They're filled with lights. Looks like something is inside of there. I don't know, working maybe. So I've looked at some of these lights in different areas and trying to see them as clear as I can. It's never easy. This is basically, say to yourself, this is pretty clear for you to be able to see it. Of course, we're looking at images with the exposure taken down. They're hard to see. And here again, another presence of some objects going by where we see it looks like three lights or three connecting, or one object of three lights going by. Looks like the other one goes and joins at the beginning. It's incredible at the speeds that they're going at, and that when I slowed things down, I started to realize that, holy smokes, some of these objects are leaving the surface and meeting up into the formation just as fast as these buggers are going left and right, and in perfect formation. So what does that tell you? Does it tell you it's an advanced military? And so I'm going to show this image. It's going to look three-dimensional. No, John Walson, it's not a 3D program, but keep watching. The surface of the moon looks like this. Well, beside Bianchini crater. Look at what we're looking at. See it going into the ground, bottom left, other way going into the ground, underneath, lines, building like objects on the ground. Bianchini crater covered with structures and objects, natural or not, on the bottom here, on the right there, and Qu'est-ce qui a marché? In the center, the X, mon ami, encore une fois, des croisements, things crossing paths with each other. Bianchini crater. This is so exquisite that it's been a couple of years I've been trying to show this with all its beauty. Look at the seriousness on the bottom of this. The connections are real. We're looking at it's overwhelmingly constructed, and no, they don't look old at all. Okay, maybe thousands of years ago they had like square buildings. I wouldn't be surprised after everything that we see, but look at the complexity in it. Look at what we're looking at on the surface, that it's very real. You can look at each section, bottom corner, right corner, top corner, left top corner, right corner, and you will see objects, structures, connections, and even pathways and corridors that go up to the higher levels. Everything's connected. There's nothing that's pixelated at all in this image. There's no layer over top of it. Here at the end of the promontorium D, I believe this is the end of Sinus Iridum. Again, just over left more west from Bianchini and what I just showed you. Well, then it gets serious on the surface where we can see firing UFOs. Look at that. Troops, flybys, many of them going by. And it's happening all quickly. It's happening very pressed up against the surface. It's hard to see what's going on the surface, but there's no doubt about it. And you can see the interaction of this object. And we're going to see a bit further. I mean, obviously I didn't write it in the title because, again, they'd probably take it down. I'm not making it up. You that have been following me know I have had some videos taken down. They don't want any of this coming out. But I'm not thrashing any association. It's my belief that it's my right to show what I found on the surface. We've all found it in different ways. People have showed it in many different ways, and this is my way of showing it. Look at it. It's a light that is flickering. So right off the bat, there's a fire on the surface now, isn't there? Why projectiles? Why illuminated projectiles? We're going to go see a lot closer than that. One of my best pieces of footage, well, here's another one actually, another best, one that I really appreciate. Seeing a UFO come out of the darkness and firing illuminated projectiles. I've shown this enough. Watch very closely. Keep watching everything that's going to happen. Now watch real close by. You're going to see come out on the right side of this. First of all, it's literally going to thrust up. You can see it very soon. There it is. It's already starting, getting brighter as it's coming out of the darkness, and projectiles on that side. A lot happening and occurring around the craft or the UFO, whatever you want to call it. It's just pretty amazing to see it on the surface. And yes, you have to look for them. Obviously, it's not easy to find, but by slowing down the footage, I assure you, you all have these in your footage. There they are, the projectiles, lights. Look at the surface, and the surface lights up too. Hi everyone, how is it going? What a big week. I've been so busy. I got a lot of new surprises for you. We're on the moon, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Yesterday it was cloudy. It doesn't matter. I have a lot more to show you. So it's deliberate to stump your eye. The eye's not used to picking up the structures on the surface of the moon. Do you see how the inversion brings out the structuring, natural or not? And that's all I've ever been trying to show you. You can see in the center there, and there's a line going to it. That, my friends, looks constructed to me. Here, Copernicus crater. On top left is the crater. We're right on the edge. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of pipes going and leading off to, again, large areas like I'm pointing to here with the arrow, and there. Maybe all those lines are connecting everything. Look, guys, they're overlapping each other. They're there. And there's no convincing. Like I said, I'm not here to convince people. I'm here to show the truth. I know they're up there. And the way I'm doing it is not manipulatively. So, but see how hard it is to see? There's nothing I can do more. Look over to the right. Yeah, it's blurry. Well, we're still seeing that there are objects there.
a Professor Robinson's collection. And apparently this Professor Robertson has had them online. He put them online years ago, and they are uncensored. And so this image here and a handful of others were published by Professor Robinson from his own collection on the Arizona State University's Space Exploration Resources website. And this image here in particular contains an array of anomalous structures and objects, and contains the most mysterious and amazing of which is a structure that has come to be known as the Tower or the Spire. Now, all of these images, including this one, and this is according to Arizona State University, the lunar orbiter images were all digitally scanned at 400 dpi at the Lunar and Planetary Institute in Houston. And many people view Professor Robinson a saint within ufology research because he was able to scan these images and get them up before NASA was able to edit them out, because so far the only copies of images like this one you will even find online aren't from NASA, but they are from the Arizona State University's website, where they were put up years ago. So let's get to this tower, which we will zoom in on here, just so you can see where exactly in this image, so you can find it yourself. By the way, we will put links in the video description to these images and to more information about these images. And as we zoom in here, you'll start to see this towering structure come to life on the screen. And here we have a close-up view of the tower itself. And there are many interesting structures in this image, and these aren't just blurry rocks. I mean, these are straight-edged, multiple straight edges, objects, mechanical-looking shapes and structures that just simply do not belong. So firstly, we have this large tower, which we will outline for you, and we will also outline some of the other more prolific objects in this image. So let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit so we can see a little bit more of the surface area of this image and the objects within. So what you're seeing now is the zoomed out image. You can still see the tower, and we will go ahead and highlight a few of these main structures that really stick out to us and have stuck out to many others over the years, and have become the core of the mystery surrounding this image and the structures within. So here in white lining, we have highlighted the tower and the structures at the base of it, which you're seeing here. We have also highlighted another structure that is to the lower left, down a ways from the tower, which almost looks like a capital letter H, and that's this structure you're seeing here. And then if we move back up to the tower, just below the tower, we have another amazing structure that's shaped almost like a fork, like the end of a fork or a letter E, a capital letter E, which we have highlighted here for you to see in white lining. And you can see it's perfectly straight edges. It has basically 3 prongs on it, like you would see on a fork. They have complete straight edges, and this structure, besides the tower, is, in my opinion, one of the second most amazing parts of this image. So here we have all 3 of the objects highlighted in white lining, just so you know what we're talking about. And we are going to go on to show you some more NASA images here in a minute, so bear with us, because we have some new images that were sent to us recently of what looks like a definite pyramid on the moon, as well as some very mysterious other images that you're definitely going to want to see and that we're going to want your guys' opinions on. So we can now see the tower, we can see the fork-shaped object, and remember down to the lower left, you can see this H-like structure, where basically we have these 2 long structures that are actually sticking up into the air. You can see them sticking out over this large, dark crater that's in shadow. So you can see these 2 lines, and then we see a smaller line coming across the middle of this object that looks like a large capital H. And now we'll move back to the tower and get a much better close-up view. And again, this is one of the go-to images in moon anomaly research that you always have people going to because it is so amazing, because it is such a smoking gun in this research, because it is an untouched NASA image, and because this tower has been looked at by countless researchers that hold weight, that have looked at these structures and have point blank called them out as having to be of an alien nature or of a possible human nature, we don't know. So we have this large tower here, and at the base of it there seem to be multiple buildings or structures, and it almost looks like the Space Needle, We have this long tower that goes up, and then we have almost what looks like a viewing area like you would see on the Space Needle in Seattle, up at the top here, sticking out like a sore thumb. And if you'll notice, and you can look at this image yourself after you watch this video, there are so many anomalous objects in this entire scan. I mean, this is just a small, tiny part of that giant scan that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So you can download the high-resolution scan and look for yourself. I mean, there are objects littered in this image, things that just don't look like they belong. So below the tower, we have this large E, or fork-shaped object. This looks like some sort of installation, a platform, a launch pad, possibly a building with 3 long hallways that branch out here on the end. And you can look at it for yourself. I mean, it's there. This isn't a trick of shadows. This isn't some weird rock. This tower is there. And then once again, we will zoom into this large letter H-shaped object so you can get a better view of it. And again, we'll highlight it, and you can see we have these 2 very large platforms that are going up. And if you look on the left side of this H-shaped object, you can actually see a shadow going up underneath this very long platform that kind of curves up into the air. And that shadow is right here, underneath the object, right on the left line of this H-shaped structure. So that definitely means that whatever this object is, it's hanging high above the ground. It's projecting a shadow underneath it. So it's an amazing image, and I urge all of you to download it afterwards, because there have been many more discoveries in these scans. One of those discoveries are of what have been called moon spires, or these large, massive, pointy, towering structures, the image of which you're seeing here, which is basically just another part of this large scan. So this is all in the same image that you'll be able to download. And as you can see, we have what look like hundreds of these large, black, pointy spires coming up out of the moon's surface, just completely littering this